to the show. I'm your host, Amanda Barr, and boy, do we have an incredible shifter with us today. This is going to be an incredible show front to end, so don't stop listening. I have Jaryd Krause. He used to be a plumber, working 60 plus hours a week and hated it. And today, he owns multiple online businesses himself, and many of his own clients are making thousands, if not tens of thousands, every month from their business they bought working with Jaryd. His Buying Online Businesses podcast is rated the top 3 for best passive income podcast online. We have so much to talk about today. Welcome to the show, Jaryd.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, and I want to dive in. I mean, plumber, you've got the classic story, plumber to online business, and now you're teaching others to do it. Just take us down a little bit of memory lane so we can catch up to where you are.
Yeah, sure. I don't know how long to make this story, but I was plumbing for a while. That was my first sort of gig that I was still at school. I was plumbing, actually. I was doing a school-based apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And I got into kind of a toxic lifestyle of working too much and then alcohol on the weekends. And, because I was working too much, I'd go down the route of just running amok and being a menace and creating a toxic lifestyle and hanging around the wrong people. And so I started to travel and realized that I love traveling, and I would save up a bunch of money and then I'd go travel for 6 months or a year and a half. And then I'd come back, I get my same job back again. And then I would work for 6 months or 12 months and then go away traveling again. And on one of my trips, I realized I don't want to keep coming home broke. I don't want to be a plumber because I don't like this lifestyle. How can I work around the world? And I don't want to have to try and get a new job every single place I went. And I did that every now and then. And so then I went to Google. I typed into Google, how to travel the world and make money online. And that's where it all started. I started travel blogging because that's what came up. I thought, I love traveling. I'll travel blog. I bought a really cool camera. I was like, I'm going to become a travel blogger. So I did that for about a year and a half. And then everybody with an iPhone became my competition. And I realized it was really hard to start my own online business. So I thought, I'll sell physical products. So I started my own physical online business. And over a month, I got a bunch of products on my site. I was selling, trying to sell a few of them. And I realized I didn't know how to do digital marketing. So I set up this business. I had no idea how to do digital marketing. So that business really didn't do so well. Sold a few products, not much. But after a while, I was plumbing, still trying to make these little online businesses work, and realized that I came across a stat that 90% of all startups fail, which is a stat from the SBA, Small Business Administration of the US, from one of their studies. And I thought, if 90% of all startups fail, why don't I go away and buy one that's past that 90% failure rate? That has a proven track record. It's already making an income. My goal wasn't to just start a business I was passionate about. It was to just make an income so I could, sustain the lifestyle that I wanted. And so that's what I did. I studied and taught myself how to buy one. And then I bought another and another. And then people were like, hang on, how can you travel? Well, people on my travel was like, well, how come you're not working? Like, how does this actually work for you? You've been away from home for a year and a half. Like, how do you have money here? And then a lot of people were like, dude, can you teach me this sort of stuff? And that's where it spawned into what I do now.
Yeah, I love that. I actually love the realness that you come from, that, you started this. And I think a lot of people get into these things like online businesses and they start and they fail and then they give up. So what for you was at that very beginning, because you didn't, it didn't work the first time and doing the products didn't work. What were you thinking to say, I'm going to take this one more step?
I was investing a little bit in the stock market, and I was just like, all right, should I just buy some more marketing courses? I go into all these online there's seminars on how to make money online and stuff like that. And I was just like, I'm going to make this work one way or another. Like, it wasn't, it wasn't just like, I'm just going to try this. I'm not the person that's just going to go and try something. It's getting done. And I was either if these businesses didn't work, I was going to start another. If the stats were that there were going to be the 90% of all starts fail, that means I'd need to start 10 businesses to get one to work. I would have done that. Thankfully, I didn't have to. But that's kind of why I just, I just try to work smarter, not harder. Work out how can I do this in a way that is an easier route, but makes sense at the same time.
Yeah.
Not just a shortcut, quick and cheap and easy shortcut. Because buying an online business isn't like, I'm just going to go away and buy a business, and it's an easy job to do. It's you need to learn how to do the due diligence, learn to find the right business and stuff like that. So still work involved. But yeah, it wasn't a question of like, what should I do if this doesn't work? Because that was going to happen.
I love that. There's something, and I think, I've been in business for myself since 2018, and you look at people's journeys, and there's been so many times it's like you say, am I really good at this? Like, am I going to survive? And when you're working, so you now help people buy their own businesses. What do you think? Because you are like so committed. And what I've learned too is if you're committed to something, you will find the way to make it happen. But if you're not really committed, those choices can change and you can shift and be unsure. So for those that are very beginning of, looking at, okay, well, I would like to learn more about this, I want to do this. What would you say is like the best they can do right now to mentally get in that game of true commitment to, I'm going to see this all the way through no matter what it takes?
I would try and help them to understand the difference between macro trends and micro trends, and micro goals and macro goals. It's to have that mindset shift to stick to one thing for, and commit to it and go the whole way. I think we really need to understand why we need to do that. And a lot of people are looking for a band-aid, a quick fix, and just trying to make anything work. So we'll go away and try a lot of different things, but in a world where we want to achieve our goals yesterday, it's just not going to work, right? We need to play the long-term game. And what happens when people want to achieve their goals yesterday is they'll try something for 3 months or 6 months, sometimes a year. Like, a year's a long time. I'll give this a go for a year. A year is nothing. If you're going to live for 100 years, 1 year is nothing, when it could be a year that's, possibly going to change your life completely on how you work and live and earn an income. It's absolutely nothing. So I think we need to understand that, we should be going into something with the ultimate commitment of like, this is going to happen one way or other, and I'm not going to give up. And one way to easily give up is if you have high expectations of trying to achieve something in a short period of time and you don't get help. So that's what I would say, for somebody that's looking to try and, change anything in their life, is understand that, if you want long lasting change and you want it to work, it's not going to be something you can click your fingers and you can get straight away. There's no such thing as this instant gratification. It's not going to work. In fact, delayed gratification is what's going to allow you to get bigger and better results.
Yeah, I love that. Jaryd, no snapping the fingers, man. I know that a lot of those, they think online business and they think, and I'm generalizing, that this is going to be quick because it's online. It's not like a brick and mortar. But you said you go through a due diligence process, and I even checked out your website. I saw you have a lot of free resources. Go check his website out. You've got one of the best URLs, buyingonlinebusinesses.com. It's so great for what you do. But talk about this due diligence, because I think this is probably what I'm understanding is might be the best way to know if this company that you're going to buy might be a really great win or not. So take me through that journey and our listeners, and what can we learn from that?
Yeah. So when you're buying any investment, you need to do your research. You need to do your due diligence, is what we call it. And a lot of people will come to this space of, I want to buy an online business because I'm going to buy myself an income stream. And what happens when we do this? A lot of people can go away and research this and go to website brokers. That's where we go to buy these website businesses. Just like we're going to buy a house from a real estate broker, we're going to go to a website broker. They're going to have all of these businesses listed for sale, just like they would on the real estate agency. And you can see how much these businesses cost, right? Just like we do with house prices. You can also see how much these businesses are making in net profit per month. This is amazing, but it's also dangerous to somebody who's a first-time investor, because people go, oh, I can buy a business for $100,000 and I'm going to make $1,500 in net profit per month. And this business only takes me 2 hours a week to run. It seems like a fantasy, right?
Right.
It's not a fantasy. It's a reality. But people go, wow, I'm going to make $1,500 per month net profit. Takes me two hours per week to run. I'm prepared to work 4 hours. So why don't I buy 2 of these and make $3,000 per month? And what happens is we get overwhelmed by the vision of how our life's going to look. And we rush into these things and we make a bad investment. Usually we make a bad investment decision because we invest based on emotion, right? And this is, it's super hard to not do. I did this for my first few businesses. I invested based on emotion. First business, I made a mistake. Second business, I learned from a lot of my mistakes. But this is why we need to do due diligence. People try to prove that the business is a good investment when they go to buy it. I say we shouldn't prove the business is a good investment, right? Because that way we can miss things, right? We can just go, yeah, I'm trying to prove this is good. I'm going to try and put the most positive spin on this, even when there's some things there that I should be not overlooking, or there's maybe some things that I'm completely missing in itself. So let's not prove that the business is a good investment. Let's prove the business is a bad investment. And if we can't prove the business is a bad investment, then we must buy. So, and the only way we can do that is by doing due diligence. And I've created that due diligence framework for people, which takes the guesswork out of what do I need to find out about the business? So yeah, they can go away and get that for free if they want.
Awesome. I think you brought so many great things out of there. Now, my question is yes, you can go look at these brokerages online and you could do it yourself. So what would you share with somebody that's like, nah, Jaryd, I'm just going to go buy one and try to do it on myself? What are some of the problems that come up in those first buys? I know emotion can be, but really when you make that purchase and now you've got this business and you're going, okay, this is, what do I do now? What do you see that you could fail pretty easily if you're not either working with somebody or have done this before?
Yeah, amazing question. Awesome question, Amanda. I would say it's a 2-part thing of before you buy the business as well, some of the mistakes you can make. And then also once you own the business, some of the mistakes you make. Prior to purchasing the business, some of the mistakes you can make by doing it yourself is just not knowing enough about the online business model or the type of online business. And not being able to identify the risks. I've looked at I look at hundreds of businesses, thousands of businesses each year. My clients send me their businesses to review their due diligence. So I look at a lot of businesses and I can quickly see what is a risk and, how this business could just come crumbling down if they go away and purchase it. Some things that they just can't even see sometimes after doing my training. So not being able to identify risk is a huge one. Also, fumbling around throughout doing due diligence, like trying to work out what you need to know about the business without anybody's help. You're going to try and contact the seller 100 times with 100 different questions. That's going to be frustrating when they're going to try to sell their business to, a lot of people. So what we want to do is ideally we want to become what I call an attractive buyer or an attractive investor. And how we do that is by asking just a few questions and we get all the information ourselves and we learn how to, communicate, build a relationship with this seller and actually win over the seller and end up winning the business. Oftentimes a lot of my clients end up buying a business for less than what other higher bidders are prepared to pay for the business. So just about 4 weeks ago, somebody saved one of the sellers of a business decided to take an offer that was $4,000 less than a higher bidder because they really liked the relationship they'd already built in a short period of time with one of our investors. So that's another thing that you need to consider is like, do you actually have the skills? You know how to build relationships, you know, understand the business model, do you know how to do due diligence? You know, you can not just only with somebody's help, you know, it doesn't need to be my help, but with somebody's help, you can actually save yourself tens of thousands, $100,000 in mistakes from not buying a lemon by having somebody point out the risks. But you can always also save money on the buy side by being an attractive buyer as well. So that's the buy side. On the owning the business, once you've purchased one, is a lot of people, it might be their first online business. So they don't know how to not just operate the business, but they don't know how to run it as well. And they'll try and change too many things, you know, straight away and have these ideas of like, I've heard this will work from somebody else on this podcast or this YouTube video, and they go away and change it, and they can end up, you know, destroying the golden goose because they don't understand how the business model actually works. So having somebody in your corner the whole way is I think absolutely critical. I think it's not just the same with an online business. It's the same with life. You know, if I have a health goal, I want a health mentor. You know, if I have a mindset goal, I need a mindset mentor. Business goal, business mentor. I have mentors and multiple people help me in my business in areas that I am not that good at. You know, you need a team. Anybody that's achieved any level of success in life has a team. Athletes, you know, supermodels, stars, actors, anyone that's got success has got a team.
Yeah, it's a great reminder, that team. And I think I want to do it all on my own, and it just takes a lot longer. Yeah, you can do it on your own, but it's a longer road, and it's a much harder, and you can shorten that path and really get the nuggets that you need. Now, you have multiple online businesses, and you are working with people that have multiple online businesses. Now, let's say somebody has one and they're doing pretty good, and they're looking at that second. How do you balance multiple businesses that are online, especially if they have marketing and different operations and things? What's that magic mix for you that you're able to do that with multiple platforms?
Yeah, so that's a great question as well. Look, when somebody wants to go away and buy an additional business, first I say they need to be set up. You know, I'm often in the camp that less is more. Usually I like to say the less work you do, the more money you can make if you understand how to do so. And that's what I help when people buy a business and they join my mastermind. We help them grow them. Like I decide to work out how can we, work less but have this business earn more. And that's done by doing two things: is creating a system, right? It is creating a good SOP, a system that actually builds the business, right? A business is just a system for making money, a system for a solution. What we need to have in place is a good system that can take people from discovering the business and the brand to having their problem solved by purchasing a product. Within that, there's a lot of moving parts, but we want a system that can either be automated by artificial intelligence or ran by a person. So usually we will set up systems that can be automated and run by AI first. And then what can't be done by AI, then we put people in place to run that system to be able to get an achievable and a predictable result. Now, once those systems are in place and the business owner isn't wearing the hat of the operator and doing all these multiple tasks, then they have freed up their time. Their business can make more money, get a predictable result without them having to work too much, which frees them up to go away and look at another business. And then when they want to buy another business, they can do their due diligence, and they can, after purchasing it, they can set up the other systems and processes and build team to be able to do the same thing they did with their first business and then buy another one. And that's the only way that you can do that if you do it in a methodical way and a smart way.
That's awesome. It's awesome. And so you have a program you have a mastermind, and then you teach people how to purchase the online business. How long are these programs for, or is it more customized? Does it matter? What's the structure?
Yeah, it doesn't actually matter. So both these products are memberships. So people can join the Buying Online Businesses community, which is a membership. And what happens is they can take, we've had people buy businesses within 3 weeks of joining. And then we've had people that buy businesses within 2 years of joining. And you can buy a business at any stage, and you get full support from me, the whole way through. And, if you want to be in there a month and buy a business, you can do that. If you want to be in there in 6 months and buy a business, or it takes you a little bit longer because you've got a life and kids and all these other things, it's totally understandable. And then they can stay in that community if they want to grow the business as well. With my support, they get one-on-one text coaching and stuff like that. If they want more high level mastermind, then they can join the mastermind to grow the business. And then they get one-on-one coaching calls with me and a bunch of other business owners, mastermind calls and guest calls with people within that. And that's a monthly thing as well. So it's not like join for 6 months or 12 months, because, I'm not trying to put people into a box or a category of what they need. They can come and go as they please. And that really shows that, people will stick around if my product and service is good enough.
Yeah.
Not just trying to
that's
keep them in
awesome.
for 12 months because I want to keep them in for 12 months because I can't do that any other way than locking them into a contract.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you've taken the art of having an online business and now taking the art of really, how do you help people? And like you're saying, it's like some people are ready to go and they're like, I want to do it all at once. And some are like, I just want to learn right now.
Yeah.
And then I'll take that next step. So it's kind of nice that you have both platforms, and then you're there for them along the way. Now, I'd love to talk about some shifts. Life
Yeah.
brings us things. Now, you had a big shift when you said we're traveling the world saying, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a plumber. But what else has come up for you in your life and in your business that has shifted you, or kind of moved you forward, or kept you moving along the way?
I would say the first big one really was the startup thing of like 90% of all startups fail. Like when I found out that stat, and then I found that I could, I jumped back on the online and say like, can I actually buy an online business? And if so, where and how? And when I found a marketplace that was selling online businesses, that was a huge game changer for me. That was like the biggest shift, probably one of the biggest shifts in my life for sure, from going from the startup making my life really hard to making it a little bit easier by doing that. I think another big shift for me was and this is more of a personal one, where I was working too much. Like I really got into the ideology and bought into the mentality a lot of people have, is that we need to just work hard, right? If we want to get a result, we need to put our head down. We need to work hard and get results and hustle and grind and make it happen. That stuffed me up hugely. Like I built part of this business that we're talking about here, buying online businesses. I used to have a different type of business model where I used to do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and I used to have a marketing team and a sales team, and I built that up, a few years ago. And I got to a point that I was working, 60 to 80 hour work weeks, making a bunch of money, which is great, having an awesome team, which was cool. But I got to a point that I was working so much that I got sick and I didn't even realize. And so I got glandular fever. And that was a huge wake up for me, that I realized like, okay, I needed a detox. I needed to get healthy. It was like a 9-month process to do that. And I needed to like declutter my life and realize that I'm not, like, as a human being, I'm not scalable. I need to work out how I can do this whole, how are people actually doing this work less, make more thing? Like it sounds like it's a fantasy. I actually had to break it down and work out how I could do that, because I physically couldn't work more. I had too many clients and I was sick, and I needed to change my whole business model, which allowed me to do that. But it took me a long period of time. I wanted the result yesterday as well. I was one of those people. So that's another shift that I had, of like realizing that. So there's two, but let's move on to this last one. And it's just come up to me as I've been like hashing through my stuff ups and my experiences. One huge one, I think it was like mid last year, which was groundbreaking for me, is that I wanted to achieve results yesterday, and still sometimes I'm saying like I want it now. I came to the conclusion, and I was under this belief that time is against me. I want to achieve X by this age. I want to achieve X by this age. And I feel a lot of people are in this camp, right? And I still feel sometimes I still put this pressure on myself sometimes. But what I realize is that when I try it and set a goal within a certain time frame, I put pressure on myself, and stress makes us, or helps us to make worse decisions because we're stressed, right? And we've got pressure. If we're relaxed, we can make decisions a lot quicker, a lot easier. It's flow, smooth. And I was like doing a lot of thinking on this couch. I do a lot of like laying down and thinking about my business and life on this couch back here. And I'm like, I'm putting time against me. Like, if I set a date, time is against me with this. And I've got a lot of pressure and stress around this. But it's the opposite is true, that time is actually on our side. If we understand that of the rules of compounding and long-term picture and long-term growth, and we understand that, hang on, time isn't against me. Time is on my side. If I keep to this trajectory of what I'm doing in business growth, life growth, and don't put a date on it, I'm going to have way more fun. I'm going to make better decisions because I'm going to be less stressed. And I'm, on this trajectory, I'm actually going to achieve this result. It may not be in a short time frame, but over time, the compounding effect and everything that I'm doing and building my brand and, building my health and all that, or my wealth and whatever it is, like, I'm going to achieve that result. Why do I need to have put time against me when actually time is on my side because of all the compound and the great things that are going to happen within that time?
Wow. I mean, that's so profound. I am so grateful that you said that, because I think it hits a lot of those that I work with, that time, like, oh, I'm already at this age. Oh, I already did this. I'm running out. And to kind of take that stress away, because that stress can be one, it can make you sick, it can slow you down, and it can confuse you. So thank you for kind of taking us through that, and just the beauty of working with time.
How do we die? Like, why do we die? Sorry.
Yeah.
The main, like a lot of people die because our body is stressed, it ages and stressed. And, the more stressed we are, the quicker we can die. And like, it's the compounding effect and the second and third order consequences of just being on the right trajectory is going to get us there, and we're going to have more fun. And, it was a massive shift for me.
Wow. And for those listening, just go back and listen again. That was that good. You got to go back and listen again and just soak that into your life and what is going on in your business and what you want to accomplish. You brought so many great things, Jaryd, today. I mean, it's really been such a pleasure. I'd love to know if there's anything else, anything you'd like to share, anything coming up that you want to talk about, or anything that's touched your heart that you're like, I just wish that was a huge one. But if there's anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up the show and get on with the day, what would that be?
I'd say if you've got something like that you want to achieve, do some thinking about it, and just work out who can you get on your team to help you. That's the main thing, is like getting good people, playing long-term games with long-term people. It's going to set you up to have a far better lifestyle.
Love it. How do they get in touch with you, Jaryd? You've got all this great stuff happening. I know I dropped your website a little earlier, but how do they get in touch with you? Because I know they're going to want to talk to you, or at least get into your groups or your mastermind.
Sure. So buyingonlinebusinesses.com. So buyingonlinebusinesses.com. You should check out my site, podcast, and all the content is there. I've got the YouTube channel. But if you guys just want to reach out to me and, say hi, and just email me at jaryd@buyingonlinebusinesses.com.
Yeah. And how do they tell them your podcast name again, and where is the best place to watch you or listen to you?
Yeah. So the podcast is Buying Online Businesses podcast, same name as the site. And yeah, you can listen to that on any of the podcast apps, on iPhone or Android. And my YouTube channel has been growing quite good lately. We've been having some fun with YouTube channels. So yeah, if you like that, it's the same name, Buying Online Businesses. It's all under there.
Amazing. Amazing. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Jaryd, for sharing your insights, your heart, your journey, things you have gone through and learned. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me on and giving me the opportunity to just expand into this space. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all those listening today, we're going to get out of here and keep on the move.